Hello, everyone. Welcome to Yam Wednesday Contains on the Pajama Party. Today, we have a very special guest, and we're going to be talking about one of my very favorite things in this world. We have Caleb here with us. Hi, Caleb. How are you doing today?
Hi, Amen. Glad to be here.
Okay, so Caleb is a banker and drum roll, an artist. And he's going to be talking to us about his art journey and the kind of art he does. So I hope you enjoy this and stay tuned. So, Caleb, to the first question, how did you even become an
Yes,
artist?
please. Okay. Um, my art journey has like a few starting points. I always tell people like I've always been drawing, like I've been drawing since I was a baby. I think I my interest in art started when a cousin came to my house when I was a baby. Like I was really young, and he sketched my brother and my elder brother, and my parents loved it so much. He looked so much like my brother. The one he did of me wasn't that great, but the one of my brother was like superb. And the way my parents felt about it was like I really wanted to do that. It just seemed like the coolest thing in the world to me to do. So that I think was the beginning. I don't know whether I had any talent then, but I always had like this creative beat. So even in school, I was always like the best in all these creative art projects and all that. And I used to do my brother's art stuff for him. So the second moment I remember that like really got me into art. So like okay, the first one made me enjoy art. Like I wanted to be an artist. So it seemed cool. Then there was this day I was in SS1 and I went on my first excursion to Uniben earlier now. Um, but I went on my first excursion and they took us to the auditorium. It was this space thing, and they took us to the auditorium, and then I saw those paintings of the vice chancellors that in auditorium, and it didn't seem like something I could ever do. So like it just drove me crazy. The next day, I went to the resident artists in my class that time. These twins, they're really great. They used to sketch in the class and everything, and I wished I could be like them. And I begged them to teach me how to paint. And they refused. They asked me to get poster color, which I could not buy. So that just kind of died. But that was the moment I realized I had to be an artist. Like I needed to be able to create stuff like that. So if you say those were the beginnings of my journey.
All right. So that is actually really interesting. Poster color. Anyway, the next question is almost like coming from the first question. So, how long would you say you have been an artist?
Okay, so sorry, I'm about to ramble.
No,
I've
it's
been
totally fine. Just tell me, like,
okay,
if you were going
okay,
to, from top of your mind, like, how old were you when you became an artist for real? Like, when you say, now, okay, I know you would say there is when I became an artist and when I started drawing.
yes.
Okay, so let's say, okay, when did you start? Because since you already said right from when you were small, so let's just say, when did you start drawing professionally?
Okay, so that's easy to answer. Okay, that's not so easy to answer, but I'll say I started drawing professionally in 2013. That was when I had like my first professional paid work, right? I
Okay.
was given 1,000 naira and it was during the strike. And that was the first time I did like a professional paid work. So I've been drawing
Okay.
before then. Yeah, I've been drawing works that could have been professional, but I didn't have the guts to go professional until then. So that was the first 2013.
So the first time you were paid money for your work was in 2013.
Yeah.
Okay. That's 7 years ago. Wow, a lot of time has passed. Okay, so tell us the kind of art you do. What kind of art would you say you do?
Okay. I do nude art. That's my art. Right. I love drawing people unclothed. Um, However, because of money and all of that, I do a lot of art. I do commissions. I do portraits. I do drawings of animals. I can do anything because of money. But my basic interest is nude art because of my own philosophies and all of that. So yeah, that's kind of art I do.
Okay, so we're going to go into those philosophies in a bit, but the question I want to ask here is: there is a type of art and there's a style of art, right? Am I mistaken that? Because when you
Yeah,
say
yeah,
nude
yeah.
art, right? What style would you say your art is done in? You get what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, I get you. So it's in like obviously I loved art because of my cousin who drew like something realistically. So it has always been that for me, getting things to look as realistic as possible. And so I do realistic art. I'm not a rich hyperrealism. I don't know if I actually want to be a hyperrealistic artist, but it seems like a goal that a lot of artists go for. But in truth, I just want to be able to express what's in my mind realistically. So people wonder, oh, is this a picture? But the elements of it are just too much for it to be a picture. So yeah, I think I do. It's sort of like contemporary realism. So it's realism, but with a switch. You get
Okay.
something more.
I get what you're saying, but I have no idea about generally what these things are. But I'm sure you have some kind of tutorials that some of the audience can actually go and watch, and we'll talk about that later on your social media platforms and things like that. So now let's talk about why nude art. You said you like drawing people unclothed. Are you some kind of pervert or something?
I've been called that, but it's not about perversion. In truth, it may have started as me just wanting to be different. I wanted to, like, it's easy to judge people based on what other people are doing, and I wanted to do something that I could not be easily judged on. However, it turns out a lot of people do that, so that's not going to be to me. But, but when I started, it was me going against the things that everybody else believes in. I believe in thought. I believe um, I believe in reasons. So if there is a norm, if there's a custom, I'm probably going to challenge it. I want to know why are we doing it. It might be right, but the reasons for doing it should always be known. So that was why I started nude art. I started it at first because I just like naked people, and I wanted to do what people were not doing. But right now it has grown, it has changed. As everything does, it evolved. I realized um, what I wanted my art to mean, and it ended up getting a lot of this. Okay, so I noticed tend to be people tend to be very judgmental and hypocritical about a lot of things, right? And so I could see it. Someone would love this artwork that I drew, but for some reason, whether their belief of what culture should be or religion or something like that, they would feel the need um, to denigrate the work, to say it's not as good, it's a bad thing. Yeah. So because of that, I started to like create my art in such a way. Like I want people to know that okay, nudity is not the problem. You get. So why nude art? Because nudity is reality. Because I feel personally, I feel like when you take everything off, you now see the real person. And in that real person, you can now tell you know whether this person is like okay. So we tend to be like human beings, um we tend to put our what's it called now? We tend to put our priorities, the things that matter on these things that didn't come with us. We're born naked. But our clothes mean everything to us. Our jewelry mean everything to us. Females, a lot of them can go out without makeup. So I'm like, what happens when you don't have those things? What happens when you don't have the clothes you need to wear, or somebody takes off your clothes all of a sudden? You are left like less than a human being simply because they took away something that didn't even belong to you in the first place. So I'm like, what if everybody was just okay in their own skin, right? So that's why I joined it, to show people it can be beautiful, it can be normal to just be nude. It's not wicked, it's not evil, and it's definitely not poor or something. So yeah, I've gone up and down because it's like hard to get it all up, but yeah,
So, in the words of Twitter, we should normalize nudity. Okay.
we should
All right.
normalize it. Yes.
So you're saying that your art is not just art, you're actually trying to send a message. Or is it just something that you do without knowing, or do you deliberately say, okay, this is what I'm trying to do, and with my art I can do that?
Yeah, it's a definite message. I have so I like drawing nudes, one, but these days, because of people's reactions, I usually try to make sure that each work has a message. Like I would like to just draw both males and females, just to explore that. But a lot of the time, I have to make sure the message is clear so that somebody does not, because people are going to come and be like, okay, so I draw someone nude and they think it's about sex. Nudity is beautiful, and I have no problem with sexuality, but it's not always the same. When I'm drawing a nude person, I'm not drawing I'm not drawing for sex. I'm not trying to seduce people. It's not erotic. You get, it's not always erotic. So my works are very deliberate. They always have a message, a very what I think is clear message. But I feel like people need a context sometimes to understand that. So yeah, there's always a message. There's something I'm trying to push. I'm trying very clearly to push in all my works.
Okay. So just to divert a little bit, right? I've seen
Um,
most of your works, and I've noticed that you draw more females than males. Is there, like, because I feel like that message shouldn't it be told to both gender? So why
it should,
particularly
it should.
female?
But if you look at it, right, men are not as restricted by society culturally in the matter of clothing, right? I can take off my clothes right now, and it will not be a
And
problem.
what
If you
part
were to
of the
take off your clothes right
clothing?
now, this
Like,
video
are
is
you
showing.
wait? Are we talking about the bottom half of the human being or the whole thing?
I'm talking about most of it. So okay, um, okay. So I believe that both sides of the nudity are the same. First of all, so if I take off my shirt, I'm shirtless. If a girl takes off her shirt, she's topless. She's naked, right? So those are the things I'm trying to address to start with. Um, so I could take off my shirt now. I will not yet be naked. I'll be topless. In which case, the video would continue. If you were to do the same, we would have to start asking what's up. So um, I draw girls more than boys because there is more of a disparity there. And because I am more interested in the female form. However, that's not to say that I do not um, draw the male form. I've actually used myself a few times and I modeled also for other artists. But men are a lot shyer than women, actually. So getting male models that are not me or my siblings or something is very hard. So that's why I tend to focus on female models, female works more.
It's actually very funny that the society restricts females, but they are the ones that are less shy to actually be nude. It's actually crazy. Maybe that's a conversation for another day, but yeah,
Yeah.
we'll talk about that at another point. So you talked about how your parents were very happy when your cousin drew your brother and you and your brother. And I'm wondering, most Nigerian parents, especially from a particular generation, would not be so open to the kind of art that you do. So, how is their reaction to your art? Have they what exactly are they being supportive? What's their reaction?
Okay, so parents matters are always a little bit. Eh. Um, my parents, my parents love the fact that I'm talented, right? They love my skill. They like what I can do. Um, I can't say they've always been supportive. Um, they have a certain path they would have wanted me to take, and most of the time I have actually stuck to that path. In my art, in Unity, in all of this, that I deliberately walked away from that path. I think that may have been one of the reasons I started in the first place, to shock them. And the more I shock them, the less shocked they become each time. So the first time I drew a nude, it wasn't even really a nude. first work. It was just like this sailor chick in like those cosplay sailor pirates wear. Yeah, and I drew it in my room and I hid it, and I could not let them see it. And then one day, one of my siblings took it to the parlor where my parents were, and you should have seen how scared I was that day. I was like, but then my parents said, "Oh wow, it's beautiful," and I was like, "Okay, hello, am I not about to get?" So they didn't see it how I was seeing it. So I said, "Okay, well, I'm going to just go into more." And the next one, I had this drawing book, this sketchbook that was filled with nudes, complete nudes. I was exploring the figure completely, both male and female actually. And I hid that one too, because that one was clearly different. That one felt like pornography, like illicit pornography that I was keeping in my room. And then, did they ever find that? No. Okay, so I drew this exaggerated male figure, half from imagination, of a guy who was like holding the world up on his shoulders and was fully naked. And he had this really, really exaggerated prepuce, a massive penis that reached like almost his feet. And I put it in our parlor. And my parents would come every day and be like, "Mama, what's wrong with you?" Like, will you remove this thing from here? But I don't know. Maybe they didn't fight it enough at that point. So I got um more daring. My parents actually they see my intention. They are really smart people. So a lot of the time they actually see what I'm trying to do with my art. They may not agree with it, and they have not always been supportive of the whole art as a whole, like me drawing, because it distracts me from academics, work, all of that. And so they never like put whether financial support or any of that. But a lot of the time, I do feel like even though they disagree with my message, they actually get it. And that is important to me, like that. The fact that I'm actually wanting to communicate something. So yeah, I think that's the basics of my art relationship with my parents.
So the next question is, where does your inspiration come from? Right? How do you come about your stories that you try to portray through your art?
Um, my inspiration comes from many things. My inspiration sometimes comes from feelings, my emotions. I was doing a series about love. Okay, so I'm a writer. So a lot of the time, I have something that I could write. I have a story in my head that I could write. I have a something that I want to write about. So after a while, I realized, okay, instead of writing, why don't I try to draw it? Why don't I try to paint it? I can put it on paper in an image. It might have a lot more power. Pictures speak louder than words. So my inspiration sometimes comes from an emotion. I was feeling that much in love. It was a new thing, and I wanted to put it all down. So I did that. But also, it comes from concepts. So, like societal issues, my philosophies. Sometimes I think and I realize, wait, this is something I want to tell people. This is a concept that people are going to disagree with. This is a question that I want people to ask themselves, because people tend to accept things a lot without thinking about them. So I go. Sometimes I just want to bring something that shocks people into thinking, that shocks people into asking questions. I don't believe that I would always be right. I don't think I'm right. I don't think that what I'm saying might be the correct thing. But I feel like let's all ask questions. So those are the places where my inspiration comes from. Either my personal feeling, my emotions at the time, my mood, or a concept I want to portray, or let me not forget this. Sometimes just something that is beautiful to me. So if I see someone who is attractive to me in a certain way, whether their body is attractive, their attitude is attractive. Yeah, sometimes I just want to put that down. I want people to see. I want to see if I can express it in the same way, and the people will be also attracted to the way I was. Or yeah, so I just want to sometimes exemplify beauty, put it out there. So those are the things I aspire to do.
Okay, so as a professional artist, what is the art world like? What is the art community like? What have you faced in terms of criticism? Because there are people that call themselves art critics. I really don't know what that means, but what is what would you say your experience has been being a professional in the art world?
Okay, so naturally, I can only speak for being a professional in the art world in Nigeria.
Mm.
So, first of all, Nigerians are very, very hypocritical. So we pretend it's about religion and all of that, but really we are just hiding from stuff. So people see my art. So I'm here talking here now on the layman critic, right? Not the professional art critic. So people see my art and all they want to see first of all is the fact that people are naked. And if they feel like it is creating some kind of feeling in them, they immediately try to smash down that feeling. And so they focus so powerfully on the nudity. So that's something that has been a problem because here I am trying to send a message that is using the nudity but separate in it. And all the person is accepting to see is the fact that people are naked in this work. Oh, wow, see the nipple big anyhow. And I'm like, hello, the message. So, yeah, that's one thing. But let's just say, as a professional in the art world in Nigeria, first of all, um, maybe it's just my circles, but people don't want to pay for art. So, there was a time, there was a year when I sold about 8 of my pieces at abysmally low prices. I got depressed. I wanted to stop. I didn't want to do it again. I don't mind painting and keeping it in my house, but if I have to sell, then that and it's that low, it becomes depressing. So I think after a while, I just decided that I would get a job and draw just because I want to. You get so that I am not affected by the fact of whether my art sells or not. Um, Professionally, I think a lot of the art world in Nigeria is actually very organized, actually very structured. Most people don't know that. We have a lot of groups and societies, and in these places, I get the criticism, I get the growth, yeah, I get all of that. So I get people who understand my art, I get people who talk about my art, I get people who inspire me. So I have that. I have mentors and I have peers in the art world. So the art world is actually quite structured. It's just about the people who would not buy art. We need our art bought again to feel. It's one thing for people to say, wow, great stuff. It's another thing for someone to say, wow, great stuff, I want to buy it. Because when they do that, it's you're putting their money where their mouth is. You know that, okay, yeah, this person actually likes it for them to want to buy it. So yeah. Um, I enjoy art. I don't care what people say or what they want to say, but it's really great. As much as I may not be seeking validation, it's really great when people love your art. So I moved to Lagos in 2018. I think moving to Lagos actually was a lot better. In Benin, I feel like I never got much positive validation there. But here, people are more open-minded. People get what I'm trying to do. So I meet a lot of cool people, and um, I have not yet gotten there, but I feel like my art has received a lot more expression since I came here. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, that's very interesting. And you talked about validation, and it's nice to hear that it's just about doing the art for yourself. And then if people feel and vibe you, then fine. But it's not about seeking too much validation from other people.
yeah,
And on that thing that really touched me too, and I think a lot of other creatives will also understand is the fact that sometimes you just need to get that job. You need to get that job that will pay the bills, and then
yeah,
you can focus on doing your art. You know, when the art becomes a source of income, then it becomes work and becomes stressful and it becomes depressing. So it's just a vicious cycle. So yeah, I totally understand that. So I think we're rounding up now, and one more question is, what do you hope your art to achieve in the long run? Right. So if you say this is an ideal state of my art versus what the world is going to be at that time. So what is that ideal state in the long run?
Okay, my art aims to address a lot of the issues, a lot of the societal issues that this 21st century is sort of like carrying that tend rape, sexual harassment, body shaming. A lot of that comes from the fact that people, and first of all, people are not okay with their bodies, and two, people feel they have a right to decide what people's bodies should be or what parts of people's bodies should show. So if I, a man or a woman, comes out wearing something that they think is scanty according to their own standards or according to some standards that they may not even agree with at that point, but it's the standard that is. They feel like, okay, this person deserves to be hooted at. This person deserves to be shamed. This person deserves to be raped. And those are the things that I'm trying to address. Like in all my arts, the one I did of myself was called Fearless. It is when I am out there with my body. It's my body. I'm allowed to, not allowed. Nobody gets to allow me. I simply am, right? So those are the things that I feel like my art is trying to address. I'm not saying everybody has to not wear clothes. I'm saying this clothing of a thing is a societal construct. We are natural naked, right? We weren't born with these clothes. We weren't born with this shame that, oh, when you are naked, you are ashamed. We weren't. Children are not ashamed to be naked. So yes, civilization has done this, but civilization has also created by putting these laws there that people are supposed to wear clothes as covering as possible and all of that. We forget that we therefore make it that if someone doesn't do those things, they can receive harsh retribution. Or, oh, now here's the problem. Or if I come out with my six packs, right? People say, okay, I'm allowed to do that because I have six packs, so I can come out again. If a guy
Mm.
comes out or a woman comes out with her big stomach, she's going to why are you bringing that out here? Why are you showing it to us? Like, if you don't want to see it, mind your business. But it's our bodies. We're allowed to exhibit it any way we want to. So um I think a perfect world, a correct world for me would be when people know, like, people are free with their bodies. First of all, a personal thing. I want everyone to be free with their bodies. I want everyone to not be shy about it. I want you. It's a different thing to be healthy, right, and to be fat. So if somebody is thick, if somebody is fat, if somebody is happy with how their body is, if they're active and all that, I want them to not there to not be a situation where they're standing on the beach and they have to wear something drapey just because people are going to shame them. So that's the first thing, from the body shaming angle. And then the second is from the rape and sexual assault angle. I want a world where nakedness is not immediately attributed to sex.
Mm.
So if someone has their clothes up or is wearing something skimpy, it's not because they're trying to sell their body, it's not because they're trying to sell sex. It may just be because I know a lot of people, I know myself included, people who don't like clothes. So if I don't like clothes, it shouldn't be that I'm trying to seduce people if I'm not wearing clothes. You understand? So a perfect world for me is one where everybody is free with themselves. Free. Like, be yourself. The world will not be awesome if everybody looked the same. It will not be awesome if everybody looked skinny. It will not be awesome if everybody was fat. Everybody is different and everybody should get to be different. There should not be, it's not something there should be rules about.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I think lastly, people, when all all else fails, people turn to religion. They say God wants us to be clothed. It's indecent to be naked. It's indecent to wear few clothes. And I feel like that's the wrongest premise to found an argument. Because if God wanted us to be clothed, He would have all animals would have clothes. God would have created Adam and Eve with clothes. You get, but His original plan did not include clothes, which makes me believe that God is naked. He never planned for clothes in the first place. So when they realized they were naked, that's when all of this started. So you really cannot start the whole religious angle with me because I feel like it doesn't follow. And if you are going to start, because Africans carry this on their head a lot more than the Western world, right? So we shout about how nakedness is decent and all of that. Meanwhile, our own cultures were not about clothing so much. Clothing was an adornment, but a lot of people went with like as little clothes as possible. Our climate begs for little clothes. It's hot out here. So people now trying to create it as if it's our culture. Like they go, our culture, it's indecent to be unclothed, it's indecent to wear few clothes and all of that. And I'm like, hello, go back about 200 years. We're not wearing clothes as much, you get. But we picked up the clothing thing from the white man and his colonialism. And now they aren't even holding onto it as much. They're not wearing so much clothes like that. But we are now holding on to it. So a world um, where clothing is not such a definer, where you don't get judged because of your clothing, where the police will not arrest you because of a certain type of clothing. That is what is a perfect world to me.
So, yes, we can find you on Instagram,
Yeah,
right? At
yeah,
Caluba,
yeah.
at
Caliber one or Art of
Caluba
Caliber.
One and Art of Caluba. So I'll leave
Yeah,
those links in the description box. So please, go and look at Caluba's work. Thank you so much, Caluba, for coming. Thank you for your busy schedule. Thank you for having this conversation with me. And for the viewers out there, please let us know your thoughts. What are your thoughts on Caluba's art? What are your thoughts on nudity? What are your thoughts on nudity versus sexuality? So many things to talk about, so many issues to talk about from this particular conversation. So please let us know what you think. And I'm very sure that Caleb would come and respond to some of those comments. So thank you once again for joining
yeah,
us,
sure.
and don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye. Bye, Caleb.
Bye.